So I was browsing Steam, looking at the sales for the week, and a colorful icon caught my eye. It was a weird acronym that I couldn't for the life of me figure out what it stood for. Clicking on it, I found out what it meant. Get to the orange door. What? After watching the trailer posted on the store page, it looked awesome. An action-packed FPS with an emphasis on movement with a bright neon art style. It was hitting all my sweet spots, and then I played it. Now, before I really dive in about what I think about this game, I want you all to know that this is a work-in-progress title, so things could drastically change in the future. And for the most part, they have a good idea going, but there are some criticisms that I would like to address. The message I got from looking at this game was simple. I mean, it's in the title, get to the orange door. But from the one level that can be played, it kept saying otherwise. I couldn't figure out what was more important, staying and fighting or getting to the door as fast as I can. And you can do both, I think? When you get to a certain part in the level, a message pop up saying threat level 1 and enemies start to spawn. The more you hang around, the more the threat level will increase and the more enemies that will come at you. Now my instincts from Doom Eternal kicked in and I reverted to just staying until everyone is defeated, then progressing. But they didn't stop, and I just kept fighting an endless fight and eventually died, and I was very confused. Going back, I just ran through it and made sure to only shoot the ones that were in my way, and I could just keep going without any consequence. What was the point of the enemies even being there if I can just run through them with no consequence? If I'm playing an FPS, I want there to be a reason the enemies are there, and you showed off a massive arsenal of weapons in your trailer, and there's no point to using them? Let's take a quick look at Doom Eternal. This might be an unfair comparison, but it puts up a good example of putting purpose to fights. Doom Eternal has an emphasis on movement as well, but it knows the difference between a fight and level progression, and finds ways to implement movement into both scenarios in its level design. Yes, enemies can still get in the way at any time during level progression, but it's usually only a couple monsters compared to the game's battle arenas. And those interrupting monsters have a purpose for a variety of reasons. They can be used to regain health from glory kills, replenish ammo, or refill your armor. Killing monsters is rewarding in Doom, and it feels good to do so. Besides points that can only be spent in the hub world before entering the level, there really isn't a point to fight if all you have to do is get to the end. There's nothing there to stop you, and it's easy to get through enemies. They're a lot slower than you, they're easy to kill, and not many of them have ranged attacks. You can just jump over them or wall run through them with ease. Don't get me wrong, this game looks beautiful. I love the neon style, but there's such a thing as too stylish. The game really wants to emphasize the visualization of the shooting, and to me it's way too over-exaggerated, to the point where it's difficult to see. The recoil on the gun makes the screen shake, and it launches so far back it takes up a massive portion of the screen, so when I'm trigger happy, it makes being able to focus and aim daunting. Also, there's the dash that makes it super blurry for a split second. For some people, I can see it not being an issue, but I don't like it when my screen gets blurry, so just adding like a motion blur setting would fix that for me in a heartbeat. Even taking critical damage makes the screen go into this weird blurry color state, which in an FPS is very bad. It's okay to warn a player with visual signals that they're about to die, but in an FPS where you have to kill the enemy before they kill you, and you have the movement abilities of a spider monkey, you want to get out of there as soon as possible, and interfering with the player's sight is very bad and shouldn't be jeopardized. Movement is a big part in this game, and it's expressed very heavily in the level design. There's walls to run on, gaps to jump, ledges to grab, walls to slide under, but it's not perfect. The wall run is my biggest issue, and it's not that I don't like wall running, it's that every time I get near a wall in this game, the character will just automatically attach to it and starts to move forward, making my movement very clunky, and it gets me into situations I don't want to be in. I even got stuck at one point because he just kept snapping onto it and I couldn't for the life of me get out of this corner for like a solid 15 seconds. The wall jump is also a problem. There's no weight to it, and when you jump off you barely ascend. Leaping off a wall just doesn't feel good and can even lead to death because you couldn't get high enough after jumping. Momentum also takes a big hit once you hit flat ground. You can kind of fix this by jumping rapidly once you get off of a wall run, but even then you start to really dip in speed, which is kind of dissatisfying because I want to keep that momentum I earned. Now, it isn't bad all the time. There are some times in this game where I was playing, I actually got a good wall run stream going on, and it felt really good and I felt like a badass, but when it's bad, it's very noticeable and it's very frustrating. I know I've given this game a lot of criticism, but I do see the potential from this title, and there's much more to come from what I've seen on the Steam page. there was only just so much I could talk about because there was only one level that was playable. But from what I saw and played, I can't say that I hate it. The movement, when it's good, feels amazing. It's always fun to move fast and bounce off the walls. There's a variety of weapons. I didn't get to use all of them because the game wasn't very clear on how to obtain them, but having a wide variety of tools of destruction is always good. The game is very colorful and bright when it's not being blurry, which I love. There's also a slow time mechanic, which is fun for when you're flying through the air and you can make some really precise shots. There's a lot of good here, which makes me happy that this is a work in progress title because there's a chance for it to get way better. Would I recommend you pick up this game right now? Maybe not quite yet. However, if you're very curious, it is on sale at the time of this video going up, so the choice is yours. The improvements I would recommend, at least in my opinion, is definitely tweak the visualization so everything isn't so blurry, and so aiming and shooting the gun doesn't seem so daunting and takes up so much of the screen. Please tweak the wall running, make it to where you hold down the jump button to attach to the wall you want to run on, or at least make it a setting. And speaking of the settings, the game has very little of them. I know I didn't talk about it much, but it was kind of a minor issue. The settings basically only really affect how the game looks and not how it plays. Like I turned off screen shaking and I turned off bloom, and it didn't feel like much changed at all. So maybe add some more customization in the settings. I don't know how far you are into the level design. You need to find a way to make these fights more purposeful. If I can just run over everything and get to the end with a low threat level, there's no point for me of shooting or fighting at all. It's really sad when you have all these cool weapons, but they're kind of meaningless because you can just speed run the level and be done with it. But, you know, that's just me. Other than that, I look forward to seeing where this game goes, and I'll definitely keep my eye on it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any other games you want me to check out, please comment down below. Other than that, thank you so much for watching yet again, and I hope to do more videos like this soon. Bye!
Your life block written by someone but you. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Just stand up and fight you.